Oh, we heard from Africa, and now we are going to hear from Asia, and particularly India.
Hello, thanks for coming. Actually, as Nuno said, it's very difficult to discuss the whole of Asia in 10 minutes because not all countries are equal, whether it comes to resources or it comes to their transition. Now, I come from a country which does not have much of its oil and gas, and we import most of it. 60% of our electricity is produced with coal, a part of which we import. Our fertilizer industry depends on imported ammonia, which is mostly gray ammonia. But the government is doing a lot towards transitioning to clean energy. It's not just to actually meet the goals, it's a requirement for us. We are a country of over 1 billion people. We're growing, the energy requirement is growing at 20%. And that's huge. Like we can't just keep importing and match that. So all the, we're not gonna be replacing all our coal plants with solar plants, but the solar plants are required to meet that additional requirement, because otherwise our import bills are going to go up and we're going to have other complications. So the Indian government has come up with a new ministry which actually deals with renewable resources, which includes green hydrogen and solar in a very big way. We've got biogas, we've got a lot of other things. 10 minutes is very short to discuss all the regulations, but there are two major bills which have come up this year. One is the green hydrogen policy, and the other is the energy conservation bill. Actually, the energy conservation bill just came out in August this year. So what the government is trying to do is that it's going to set up a carbon market, whereby if you have a liability or an obligation to use clean energy and you don't produce it, you can actually buy carbon credits. And this is going to enable the people or the companies or the investors who have invested into green energy to actually encash it and not just rely on doles from other countries or with the government. So that this is one major thing which is happening, and this is where the lawyers would come into play, because the rules have to be laid down and the obligations have to be laid down, and the government does take out consultative papers, and lawyers play a very important role in it. The second thing which is there in the energy conservation bill is that they've said even huge residential projects will need to use a part of green energy as a part of their energy requirement. So this would actually help India transition towards greener energy. We have one of the lowest energy consumption at this point, and so we can't just be expected to totally transition to green energy just like United Kingdom or other countries are required to, because we don't consume that much and India has a lot of development to do. Though the government is spreading the use of electricity, but we would have probably at least the same population as America, which does not have access to electricity even now. So that's like, so we need to provide electricity to them. So the goals for us need to be a bit more relaxed. So our net zero goals are, I think, 2070 as per the COP26. So this is what India has been doing. And then the next country that I'm going to be talking about is United Arab Emirates, because we work there. And this is a totally different country. This is a rich country. India being one of the poorest as far as the per capita income is concerned, this is one country which has one of the highest per capita incomes. And it has its own petroleum and own gas. But even this country is actually transitioning towards clean energy. And they've set up even a green hydrogen plant and a solar plant. India is at number 4 when it comes to renewable energy. The contracts are more or less international now, because the investors and the bankers are mostly multilateral banks or the investors from other countries. So the contracts have to be in line. And of course, as Nuno said, for hydrogen, we'll need to start from scratch and make them make the standards which are applicable to everybody, because hydrogen is not going to be say, very that simple. In UAE, the country is rich. They want to transition to net zero by 2030. That's what their aim is, though they have so much of petroleum and so much of gas, but they can afford it. In India, our goals are 2070. What can the lawyers do, and what are our roles into all this transitioning? In UAE, since that's a richer country, they would require regulations for the use of green hydrogen. They can produce it, but who's going to use it? If it's $6 a unit, or it's like 6 times the price of gray hydrogen, why will say a fertilizer manufacturer use it? So it has to be either obligated or incentivized with the help of carbon credits. Similarly, for countries like India, where you'll need to get financing. Most of our friends here would know India is one of the most litigated countries. Why? The government is the biggest litigator. So this is what brings a big challenge for lawyers, because we are the guys who have to solve that. What happens is, if an investor comes into a country which has a requirement for green energy or other energy, he needs to be secured. But here we have a government which is constantly litigating. The contracts are drawn and redrawn. We have a concept of power purchase agreements which have been redrawn several times, because there have been a lot of cases. We've had state governments just pulling off their contracts from the market, or just withdrawing the subsidies that they were giving on the basis of some flaws with the producer or the other. So these are things which the lawyers will have to contribute to, so that these contracts in the first place are drawn in a way that they can actually be executed fairly, and the person who's getting into this big investment of alternate energy actually receives the money. So I feel lawyers have a very big role to play, because these contracts are in a way starting from scratch, especially when it comes to green hydrogen, green ammonia. And I think for the survival of this planet, we all need to move to greener energy. So these contracts have to be done by the lawyers. And of course, litigation is our bread and butter. So we need to be ready for all that. Thank you very much.